Attention is all you need.
This one paper published by the Google Brain team changed the world as we know it forever. In December 2015, these 12 individuals met to form a research lab with the goal of developing safe and beneficial AI that outperforms humans at most economically valuable tasks. This is the story of how a non-profit research lab is set out to raise $7 trillion and change the world forever. Imagine this is $1 million. Then this would be 1 billion. And 7,000 times 1 billion would be 7 trillion.
That's how much the OpenAI's chief executive Sam Altman is looking to raise. But how did they get to such a big number? Before late 2022, general public didn't have any interest in OpenAI until ChatGPT took the world by a storm.
It took Facebook 2 years to get to 1 million users. It took Instagram 2 years to get to 1 million users. It took ChatGPT 5 days to get to 1 million users. In 6 weeks, these guys have gone from zero in valuation to now being a $29 billion company.
A text-based software that talks completely like a human. It can respond to anything from giving you answers from a tough math question to helping you plan your next vacation. It's like talking to another human who has knowledge over almost anything on the internet. Since its release, it has passed a bunch of high-level professional exams, including the bar, USA Biology Olympiad, and even CFA. Microsoft had already invested $1 billion in the company in 2019. In the start of 2023, it invested another $10 billion, most of which was in the form of computational resources. Building such a big AI model that is made from endless amount of data needs a lot of compute power to train and improve. This is not the first time an AI model has been used by a company. They have been in use for years to make self-driving cars, predict stock prices, and in many more applications. But this is the first time it has been made available for the general public to access it with just a few clicks. This rapid development brought with itself tons of concerns about data and the future of humanity. Some say that the responses generated by the AI models are threatening. Some industry leaders have concerns over the fast-paced development and deployment of such AI models. They want to do it in a safe and responsible manner. What would happen to the job market if AI takes over the jobs? Would it crash the world's economy? Or will it bring forward a new age?
My worst fears are that we, the field, the technology, the industry, cause significant harm to the world. I think if this technology goes wrong, it can go quite wrong, and we want to be vocal about that. We want to work with the government to prevent that from happening, but we try to be very clear-eyed about what...
Even though Sam Altman is now in favor of AI regulations, there have been a few controversies around him as well. Before discussing the rise of OpenAI, let's have a look at the interesting events of Altman's life. In 2005, at the age of 19, Altman co-founded Looped, a location-based social networking mobile application. Altman raised more than $30 million in venture capital for the company. However, Looped failed to gain traction with enough users. In March 2012, it was acquired by the Green Dot Corporation for $43.4 million. After selling his company, Sam became a partner at YC. a startup accelerator that invests in a wide range of startups. The accelerator has given birth to some big-named companies, including Airbnb, Stripe, and Dropbox. Altman said that the total valuation of YC companies had surpassed $65 billion. Because of his great performance, he was named president of YC by its co-founder, Paul Graham. In September 2016, Altman announced his expanded role as president of YC Group, which included YC and other units. Altman introduced YC Research, a nonprofit research lab, and donated $10 million to fund it. YC Research has thus far announced research on basic income, the future of computing, and much more. We'll come back to these later. In March 2019, YC announced Altman's transition from the president of the company to a less hands-on role as chairman of the board for him to focus on OpenAI. Soon after, he was no longer affiliated with YC. Shockingly, Altman was fired and had appointed himself chairman without authorization. How did someone who was helping them earn billions fired all of a sudden? Out of the 12 co-founders of OpenAI, some were leading the team like Ilya, Sam, and Greg, while some were donors like Elon Musk. These donors pledged $1 billion for this initiative, partly because hiring a top-level AI researcher costs as much as an NFL quarterback. The research lab was supposed to serve as a competitor to Google, which has been in the forefront of the field. While it didn't pay its researchers as much as Google, but people were willing to join because of its vision. A few years later, there were $130 million made in donations, and Elon Musk was leading the pack with highest donations while YC Research contributions were zero. But that's when it all started to crack. Elon thought that they were falling behind competitors like Google and Facebook. He wanted to take over the driving seat, but the board rejected and wanted Sam to continue. Elon wasn't having it, so he left OpenAI in 2018. OpenAI introduced multiple platforms like OpenAI Gym and software like Universe to help other people develop better models. These initiatives required a lot of computing power, and only in 2017, the hardware and GPU costs were about $7 million. The company started partnerships with GPU manufacturers, like NVIDIA, because the use of GPU was going to increase exponentially. This race for computational power generation would soon take OpenAI to the trillion-dollar dream, but before that it had to tackle a lot of hurdles. In 2019, OpenAI transitioned from nonprofit to capped for profit, with the profit being capped at 100 times any investment. The capped profit model allowed OpenAI Global to legally attract investment from venture funds and to grant employees stakes in the company. The company then distributed equity to its employees and partnered with Microsoft, announcing an investment package of $1 billion into the company. Since then, OpenAI systems have run on an Azure-based supercomputing platform from Microsoft. It planned to spend the $1 billion within 5 years, and possibly much faster. Altman has stated that even $1 billion may turn out to be insufficient, and that the lab may ultimately need more capital than any nonprofit has ever raised to achieve artificial general intelligence. The transition from a nonprofit to a capped profit company was viewed with skepticism, but Sam and his team went on going and got $10 billion more from Microsoft in 2023. Sam Altman is on the road to raise $7 trillion, and nobody can stop him. There was a global chip shortage from 2020 till 2023 because of high demand. This caused a lot of issues, including price increase, production delays, and long wait times. With the ever increase in AI development, the demand is only going to increase. Sam Altman is in talks with a big UAE venture capital firm that might invest in infrastructure, property, and other expenses for mass chips production. If they succeed, then they become the third biggest supplier of chips after Intel and Nvidia. There is no doubt that the demands for chips will increase in the future with self-driving cars, GPU usage, and much more. Altman has a record of making big things work, but will he succeed this time? Only time will tell.